Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down some pretty complex stories. And today, well, we've got a really dark one. So today we're jumping into this really brutal civil war from the book of Judges. It's a pretty chilling story, honestly, about how one horrific crime and the quest for justice that followed just completely spiraled out of control. It really makes you ask, where's the line? When does justice turn into just brutal vengeance? All right, so our story kicks off not on some grand battlefield, but with a single brutal act. It all goes down in a town called Gibeah, which is in the territory of the tribe of Benjamin. And this act, it was so awful it sent shockwaves through the entire nation. So you've got this traveling Levite and his concubine, and they're just staying the night in Gibeah. But then men from the city horrifically assault her, and she dies. The Levite, just consumed by grief and this blinding rage, does something absolutely shocking. He dismembers her body and sends the pieces to all 12 tribes of Israel. I mean, can you imagine? It was this gruesome, in-your-face call to action that nobody could ignore. And wow, did the tribes of Israel answer that call. The outrage was immediate and universal. Leaders from all over the land came together, totally united, determined to deal with this evil head-on. And I mean, just get a load of the scale of this response. We're talking about a massive army, 400,000 swordsmen all gathered in one place. Now, at first they weren't actually looking for a war. Their demand was pretty simple. Just turn over the guilty men from Gibeah so they could face justice. The idea was, as the text puts it, to purge the evil from Israel. But the tribe of Benjamin flat out refused. Instead of handing over the guilty parties, they decided to protect their own. They called up their own army. And just like that, what started as a demand for justice blew up into a full-blown civil war. Okay, so just look at the numbers here. It's a total mismatch, right? You've got 400,000 soldiers on one side and just a little over 26,000 Benjamites on the other. But check out that little detail. The Benjamites had 700 elite left-handed slingers. And the story goes, these guys could sling a stone at a hair and not even miss. So yeah, they were small, but they were definitely ready for a fight. So you can imagine the Israelites, right? They've got the numbers, they've got what they believe is the moral high ground. They're expecting a quick, easy victory. They even ask God who should lead the charge. But what happens next? Nobody saw it coming. Day one, the tiny Benjamite army absolutely crushes the massive Israelite force. They cut down 22,000 soldiers. That is just a staggering, unbelievable loss. So they're completely stunned, right? They're grieving, they regroup, they weep, they ask God again if they should attack, and they're told to go for it. So they attack on day two, and they get defeated again. This time, they lose another 18,000 men. So think about that. After just 2 days of fighting, 40,000 Israelites are dead. Okay, so day three comes around, and the Israelites finally change things up. They've been praying and fasting, and they come up with a real strategy this time. They set a trap. They pretend to retreat, which lures the now super confident Benjamite army out of their city and straight into an ambush. And this time, it works. The whole tide of the war just turns on a dime. But this wasn't just a clean military win. You have to remember, the Israelite coalition had taken these massive, humiliating losses, and now they were filled with a rage that had nothing to do with justice anymore. What came next was just total annihilation. So over 25,000 Benjamite soldiers were killed. But they didn't stop there. Oh no. The Israelites just swept through the entire territory of Benjamin, and they put everyone in the towns to the sword. We're talking men, women, children, even the animals. And then they burned everything. Everything. And when the dust settled, out of the entire tribe of Benjamin, only 600 men were left alive. Just 600. They managed to escape and fled into the wilderness, hiding out at a place called the Rock of Rimmon. They were literally the last survivors of their entire tribe. And it's only then, in that quiet after all the killing, that the Israelites look around and realize what they've done. They've nearly wiped an entire tribe completely off the map. But their oh no moment gets really complicated really fast because of a solemn oath they'd all taken before the war even started. They swore that not a single one of them would ever let their daughter marry a Benjamite. So now they're facing a brand new problem, the extinction of a tribe. And the elders of Israel start scrambling for a solution. But the plans they come up with, well, they're every bit as brutal and morally messed up as the war itself. So get this. Their plan has two parts, and both are just horrifying. Part one, they're going to go attack a city that didn't show up for the war and take all their women. Part two, they're going to set up a mass kidnapping during a religious festival. I mean, it's just a shocking solution to a problem they created themselves. So they do a roll call and find out that nobody from the city of Jabesh-Gilead showed up for the war. And wouldn't you know it, they'd also made an oath that anyone who didn't join the fight had to be killed. So they use that as an excuse. They send 12,000 soldiers to carry out another massacre with one very specific order: spare the young virgins. And from the ruins of that city, they take 400 young women. They give them to the surviving Benjamites to be their wives. But there's a math problem. There are 600 Benjamite men, which means they're still 200 wives short. So how do you get wives for the last 200 men without breaking that sacred oath? Well, the elders come up with this absolutely chilling loophole. Their vow said they couldn't give their daughters to the Benjamites. But if the Benjamites were to take them, well, technically that's not giving, is it? It's a whole different story. So they literally tell the last of the Benjamites, go hide in the vineyards near Shiloh. There's a big festival happening. Just wait until the young women of the town come out to dance, and when they do, rush out, grab one, and carry her off to be your wife. Just like that. And that's exactly what happens. The Benjamites ambush the dancers, kidnap their wives, and head back home to rebuild. And everyone else, they just go home. Their brutal work is done. The tribe is saved, but at the cost of another massacre and a mass abduction. The whole story, and really the entire book of Judges, ends with this one haunting line. It's meant to explain all of this chaos. It's about this vicious cycle where the hunt for justice turns into pure vengeance, and the only solutions people can find are just more brutality. It really leaves you with this heavy question. When there's no king, no law, no shared moral compass, what stops a society from just tearing itself apart?